Many of you, if not all, have run into a situation where, upon finding out that you attend church and asking what church you go to, and you say Unitarian Universalist, you are put on the spot with that question that stops every UU in their tracks. Unitarian Universalism, what's that? Because as wonderful and as life-affirming as our faith tradition is, it's not always the easiest one to describe or explain in a few words when put on the spot. There is, however, a line I come back to often when I'm trying to explain what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. Not a theological formula, not a creed, not a specific set of beliefs, but this. We are a covenantal faith. When people ask what that means, I sometimes say we are a people of promises. We gather not around dogma or doctrine, but around shared commitments. Commitments we make to one another, to our communities, to our world, and to our own deepest sense of what is good and just and holy. Covenant is, at its core, a spiritual practice. It is the foundation of our religious life together. And yet, it is not always easy. Because unlike belief, which can remain private, covenant calls us into relationship. Covenant asks something of us. It requires us to be mindful of how we treat one another. It invites us to speak with care and listen with openness. It draws us back again and again into the hard and beautiful work of community. Our Unitarian and Universalist ancestors were part of a broader Protestant movement that, especially in New England, placed deep trust in the idea of covenant. Unlike many other churches of their time, early Congregationalists, who form our roots, believe that the church was not created by hierarchy or enforced doctrine. Instead, it was created by people who freely and voluntarily entered into covenant with one another. A covenantal church did not say, here is what you must believe. It said, here is how we promise to live together. That promise was sacred. The early Puritans, who, yes, we often disagree with theologically, had this one thing profoundly right. They knew that religion was not just about right belief, it was about right relationship. They built their communities on mutual promises to walk together, to support one another, to worship together, and to correct each other with love when someone went astray. The Cambridge Platform of 1648, a foundational document of New England Congregationalism, stated that, quote, a church is a company of saints by calling, united into one body by a holy covenant. Though our theology has changed radically since then, that core idea remains. We are united not by what we think, but how we promise to live and be with one another. Our movement has grown and evolved over centuries. We no longer speak of saints by calling, and our understanding of who is welcome in our covenant has expanded, thankfully, to include all people regardless of race, gender, sexuality, class, or creed. But the thread of covenant has remained strong. We see it in our congregational polity. Each congregation is autonomous, and yet we are bound in voluntary association. We see it in our principles and purposes, not commandments handed down from on high, but shared aspirations we affirm together. We see it every time we install a minister or welcome new members, not through baptism or tests of faith, but through a mutual covenant of shared ministry. And we see it in those quiet, tender moments when someone is hurting and another shows up with a casserole or a phone call. When someone makes a mistake and is met not with shame, but with compassion. When someone disagrees and still chooses to stay, to listen, to grow. That is covenant in action. Covenant is also not a one-time act. It is not a document we read once and forget. It is a living, breathing practice. It must be renewed again and again in how we treat one another. Like any spiritual practice, covenant is hard because it asks us to show up even when we are tired. It asks us to speak kindly even when we are angry. It asks us to listen even when we are sure we are right. The Quaker poet and theologian Parker Palmer writes, love this quote, "Community is the place where the person you least want to be with always is." That may sound harsh, but it gets at a truth. Real community is not built on comfort or compatibility. It is built on commitment. Covenant calls us to stay in relationship even when it is messy, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. To be in covenant is to say, you matter to me. This relationship matters to me, and I will do my part to tend it with care. That means being aware of how we speak about one another. It means refraining from gossip or back-channeling. It means assuming good intent. It means giving each other the benefit of the doubt. And when harm happens, as it inevitably does, it means seeking repair, not revenge. Kindness, then, is not optional. It is a discipline, a form of spiritual resistance in a world that too often rewards cruelty. In a culture that thrives on outrage and division, kindness is a radical act. Our Jewish siblings know this well. In the Jewish tradition, there is a concept called lashon hara, literally the evil tongue. It refers to speaking negatively about someone even if what you say is true. Gossip, slander, or even idle complaining all fall under this concept. The rabbis taught that lashon hara is one of the gravest sins. Why? Because words have power. In the Talmud, it is written, quote, "The tongue is an arrow," because while a sword can kill someone who is close, an arrow can kill in a distance. Words matter. What we say to each other and about each other matters. When we speak with care, we build trust. When we speak with contempt, we tear it down. In a covenantal community, then, we must be mindful not only of our actions, but of our speech. Not because we are trying to be nice all the time, but because we are trying to be true to our shared promises. Our own Unitarian ancestor, the Reverend James Luther Adams, once wrote that the free church is a covenant, not a creed. He believed that freedom and responsibility go hand in hand. To be truly free, he said, is not to do whatever you want. It is to choose over and over again to be in right relationship, to build institutions and communities that reflect our highest values. And that begins with how we talk to and about one another. Yet, we will break covenant. All of us. It is evident. We are human. We will say the wrong thing. We will make assumptions. We will act out of fear or pain. We will fail to live up to our own ideals. And that is why covenant also includes the promise of forgiveness, the promise that we can return, that we can begin again in love. There is a beautiful line in our hymn. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. That phrase, our great covenant, is not just poetry. It is the foundation of our life together. To dwell together in peace means we are responsible for the energy we bring into this space. It means we work to resolve conflict directly and respectfully. Seek the truth in love means we are honest with each other, and we do so not to wound, but to build up. To help one another means we recognize that we belong to each other, that my well-being is tied up with yours. So what does this all look like in practice? It looks like pausing before we speak, especially in anger. It looks like checking in with someone if we hear a troubling rumor instead of passing it along. It looks like speaking up when we witness harm, but doing so in a way that invites transformation, not humiliation. It looks like remembering that everyone is carrying something we cannot see, and choosing to meet them with compassion instead of judgments. It looks like asking, is what I am about to say true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Those are covenantal questions. Those are spiritual questions. And they are ones we can ask not just in church, but in our homes, our workplaces, our neighborhoods, our online spaces. It is a way of life. Because the truth is we are always in covenant, whether we recognize it or not. Every relationship carries with it implicit promises, trust, a mutual respect, of shared care. What makes religious community different is that we name these promises. We take them seriously. We practice them knowing we will stumble, but believing it is still worth doing. Covenant is not glamorous work. It is not always easy. It does not usually make headlines, but it is the slow, steady work of love. It is the way we build communities that can weather storms. It is the way we create spaces where people can show up as their full, messy, beautiful selves and know that they will still be held. In a world that tells us we are disposable, covenant says you belong. In a world that glorifies independence, covenant says we need each other. In a world that rushes toward judgment, covenant says, let us listen with love. So today, let us speak kindly, even if it is hard. Let us seek truth, even when it is uncomfortable. Let us dwell together in peace, not because we never disagree, but because we choose to stay connected. It's the heart of our faith. Not belief, but relationship. Not uniformity, but mutual promise. Not perfection, but the willingness to begin again, again, again in love. We cause it to be so. Blessed be. Amen. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. Thank you all so much.